Hey folks, Jonathan here. Alright, we're working on the ERIE engine. Here's the rod out of it, the taper, and that square cut that's going to have to be made. Anyway, we got to do the taper. What I got is a hydraulic cylinder that I took apart. 2-inch shaft's in perfect shape, so we're going to shorten it up some, but it'll work real good. So I'm working on some of the other stuff in there. I'll show you. Okay, so here is our rod for our valve. I ordered a piece of 1 1/4 hydraulic cylinder shaft, and my buddy Bill got it for me and got it threaded. That's all done. We're ready to go there, and then I think that's about 16-inch long thread, which was pain in the butt. But so rod's done, and I also surfaced the valve, D-cup valve, so that's done. So we're working on now. All right, working on the piston. As you can see, I have bored out the hole in the piston. I cut it off with a torch first. The rod was 2-inch. It looks like the hole going through the piston's 1 3/4. I bored it to 1.5 inches. I don't have a bigger bit. Well, I got bigger bits, but I don't have anything that's not a Morse taper that'll fit in this R80 chuck. This is too big. It's 14 1/4 bore, so it's too big for my to put in my lathe. And what I've done is, like I said, I've cut it to 1 1/4 inches. I can't use a boring bar because I don't have a boring bar that's long enough. It's 4.5 inches thick. So I made a knocker. So we're going to take this and take this thing outside and put it on some block and see if I can hammer this through. Now the other end of it is, I'll show you in a minute, is just sort of like riveted. It's peened. It's got, they heated it up and they hammered it. So that's, we may end up going that way, and the reason being, I'd rather countersink it and put a nut on it, but because this thing is hollowed out like it is, and the center is not as big as what it would normally be, I don't want to counterbore it. If we counterbore it, it'll weaken it up real bad and may bust through it. You know, counterbore it and put a nut on it. So I think what we'll do is just peen it like they've got it, and we don't want anything protruding out. So I'll show you how they done it. And hopefully, I don't know how much of a press they put on this thing. I'm hoping this thing will knock through it, and we'll see if it does or not. All right, folks, here's the other side. I want to show you before I set it up. Now you can see it almost looks welded, but it's not. They have peened it over, so it might be a little bit loose, so hopefully it'll come on out. We'll see. You know, then again, it might have a hard time, but I don't know. We'll set it up on these 3 blocks here. All right, folks, I throwed that in there and hit it with the small hammer. It looks like I'm getting a little bit of a movement, but I tell you what, it's got a heck of a bounce to it, and I don't like that. So we're going to get our big rod and see if we can knock it down. All right, let's see what happens. Don't look like it's doing much. Alright, so you can see it's discolored and changed. Look like a little oil out of it, but it's not moving good. Let's look at the other side. Really hadn't changed a whole lot. I think I'm actually going to heat it. We'll get some heat in the center of it and flip it back over and see what we can do. Worst comes to worst, we can cut a slot in it also with a sawzall or something, but this will A lot of beating and banging for a man out of shape. All right. All right, folks, there it is. Sliced it a little bit. So, a good sweat fit, and then hammer it. I don't know how far to leave it stuck out, but we can stick it out a good ways and then hammer it, and then we can grind it off if we have to. But you can see what they've done, they just tapered it. So, anyway. I didn't get down into it at all, that's good. So we're good to go there. And now it's time to get our rod ready. So I can do some good measuring, make sure we get it the right size. Then we'll heat this up and build a fire and put it in like I did the other one, and we'll slide her together. And but I've got to get the tapering all done on the shaft first. So, alright, I just needed that out so I could just do some measuring. Alright folks, so taper's done. Got it finished up. Now I've got to do this slot. And luckily my lathe did turn out to be a 2-inch through hole, which I did not think it was that big. I thought it was 1.5 inches, but so I didn't have to do this between centers, which is always nice. So that leaves us with turning the other end down. Just an easy straight turn down to put into the piston, and we'll, like I said, we'll sweat fit it, and then we're going to go ahead and peen it on the end just like they had it. Now for this, so what I'm probably going to do, they've probably done this with a shaper, I'm assuming. I don't know, I do see some round, like maybe they, I don't know. Anyway, so here's my plan. I'm going to set it up in the mill. I'm going to drill 2 holes. I'm going to try to use my broach to square it off, you know, forwards and backwards. And if I get that, then I can go through and mill everything else out. And let me get one of the broaches and I'll show you how it fits in there. Okay, so here is a 3/8 broach. It's as big as I've got now. I don't think that's 7/16. I think it's just a kind of a weird size, but that's fine. We can work with this. So what I'll do is I'll machine a hole to where I know this thing will go in and cut, and then I'll just try to cut the corners. If I have to take a bolt and machine it to get the round part and make it flat, that way I can put I can shim it, and then we'll just cut it, and we should be able to cut it until we get the hole straight, and we'll do the whole thing. I think we'll just do the whole thing 3/8. I think we can get by with that okay, and I'll check the other, and I mean we can, I mean that's it's not a 1/16 over. It's a little closer than that, so we can play with it with a file if we have to, but yeah, I think we can do that, and we'll get that done. So far, you know, we're not going to be spending any money on this because it's it was a used cylinder, but I mean it's in perfect shape. So the cylinder, they replaced it for some reason and didn't want to use it, but the rod was good, so fine with me, and freebie's always good. So anyway, we'll go ahead and probably post this video because it's going to be a couple days before I get back to working on this, because, well, a few days, because I've got a pretty big job coming up. We're going to be setting a cab, Chevrolet cab, over on a 1-ton truck, and we're also going to be, it's got a Cummins diesel in it, and we're going to be doing all the wiring and hookup for the diesel, and changing over to a 4L80, so I'm going to have to probably run a standalone harness. But anyway, we're going to be doing that, and I'll probably film it. And then I'm actually making a trade with a buddy of mine that is actually a painter, and I mean a real painter, not a fake painter. So he's going to do the body work and paint the Roadster for me in trade for doing this work for him. So, and it's like a 95, 96 Chevrolet. And there's a story behind it, and I'll let y'all know the deal on that. Okay, I figured I'd show you one more thing. This is threaded rod. I bought these. These are a little bit longer than what I needed, but we can cut them off. Come with the nuts And what I was doing was searching for nuts for a flywheel. These are 2-inch, and I don't mean 2-inch outside, I mean it's a 2-inch shaft. So there's 60 pounds for 3 of them. But I was looking for a 2-inch nut, and I came along these, and it was as cheap to buy these as it was just to buy the nuts. And evidently this is a job that somebody had done and set it up for somebody, and then they didn't, you know, follow through. So I bought 3. I only need 4, but I've got an original, so we're going to run 1 original and these 3. These are the bolts that hold the Hamilton flywheel together in the center, and I also bought some that hold it on the outsides, and there were 6 of them. I bought 5 because we had 1. So we've got all the bolts for the Hamilton flywheel, and we're going to keep moving along with that. I've got to get this other piece poured and make this other bearing for our ERIE and our strap and our wedges. And like I said, we've got this done, and I think that's the longest thread I'd ever cut, and no follow rest, so it's kind of a tough deal. I've done it between centers, but I got it, and that's the important part. So anyway, all right, appreciate everybody watching. Till next time, bye.